Whatever you believe, you will ultimately receive. How does that quote make you feel? This week I was talking to someone I highly admire, someone that's very close to me, about manifestation and this whole process, and we were kind of laughing about how I think there are parts of it that actually kind of make sense, and there are parts of the laws of attraction that make sense to me, and then there are other parts like sitting on your couch just telling yourself that things are going to happen that I think are kind of crazy, and it also discounts people's the amount of energy that's required to get a thing going, to get it to overcome inertia, if you will, in a relationship, in business, and I think that can make the law of attraction can sometimes make people lazy. But what I want to talk about in this episode is belief, and so this actually stemmed from I was listening to a song this week, and it's a song I've heard 1,000 times, and in fact I had skipped it, and then I came back to it, which if anyone that's listening to this that knows me, you'll know I religiously kind of skip through songs very annoyingly and very quickly. But I was listening to this song, and I don't know if I was having a challenging day or what the circumstances were, but I'd heard it probably 100,000 times. And then all of a sudden the lyrics hit me in a totally different way, probably because of the circumstance that I'm in, and the situation, the road trip, all the things that are going on in my life. And the lyrics had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing, didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. And so if you know the song, you know it's by Panic at the Disco, and the song is called High Hopes. And there were so many things in it that really struck me. Talking about not having money, but having this vision, seeing this thing so clearly in your head. And Tony Robbins talks a lot about, how our beliefs and our experiences and our emotions kind of create the reality of our life. There was just so many pieces to this that I had to play the song like 3 or 4 times in a row after I had thought about what I was hearing in terms of the words and how relevant they were to me. And that's why I wanted to share this video with you guys. Before, it's quote heavy at the beginning, and so I have this Panic at the Disco song quote, and then I also want to jump in with a Mark Lore quote. Now, I really don't like Mark Lore. I think the Jet.com acquisition for Walmart was like a joke and kind of a scam, and I think his new business is kind of ridiculous, the one that he's trying to sell to Walmart again. I'm not sure really why they would buy another thing from him after the first one really didn't succeed, but that's neither here nor there. He's had way more success for me, and so there's obviously things to learn, and I really like this quote from him. And it falls along the same path of what I want to get to today with you guys. So here's the quote from him. I talk a lot about taking the biggest step that you can towards, I talk a lot about taking the biggest step that you can every day towards your vision. That's the definition of a big step. At some point, detailed planning and research will be important, but sometimes it's about putting the cart before the horse. I love that last sentence. At some point, detailed planning and research will be important, but sometimes it's about putting the cart before the horse. In this video, I've entitled it BYOB, and it's not about alcohol. It's bring your own belief. And the reason I named it that is because it's your full-time job to believe in yourself. You are the one that has to believe in you first, until you become a person that other people will put belief into. And I have a quote of my own that I actually kind of like that I came up with when I was thinking through this, but BYOB, bring your own belief. You have to believe in yourself first. You have to, and it's not just like a woo-woo thing. Like, you need to create the evidence, and that could be something as small as, like, for me, going to the gym or eating healthy or doing a thing that's challenging enough, and you've done it consistently, and you have this confidence because you have this evidence that you can do a thing that's hard and whatever. But you have to be the first person to do that for you, because no one's going to do it for you. No one is going to come in and rescue you. Like, you need to believe in yourself first. So the quote that I had that I came up with myself, that I kind of enjoyed, and it was powerful for me, so I've been thinking about it a lot, is no one is going to believe in you until you become a person worth believing in. And as I kind of mentioned, it's your full-time job to believe in yourself. And I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, which was like getting started, build your confidence by doing something hard, then do it consistently. For me, that's the gym. I hate it. I hate going. but it's hard for me. And I think just by the nature of it being hard and then doing it consistently creates this confidence, not because I think you can also create confidence. Some people get it because they have, muscles and whatever, or lean mass and all this other stuff. But for me, it's like just the fact that I've done this thing that's really hard over and over and over and over again. For me, I have this evidence that I can do other things that are really hard consistently over and over and over again and overcome them and get better at them and grow. So you got to figure out what that thing is for you. Maybe it's the gym, maybe it's something else. That will help you have a starting point to start creating that belief in yourself, because you're confident that you can do hard things, that you've done them before, and we all have. If you think about how complex walking is, or speech, or all these other things that you've driving a car, right? Think about how many inputs there are on driving a car, like mentally. Like you have turning, you have this, you have that, you have backing up, for all these different dimensions of things you need to learn in order to drive around. And hopefully for those of you listening, none of you have run over anybody, and so it's like there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that. And now you just get in the car, and how many times have you passed your exit on the highway, or you're in autopilot? You don't even have to think about it because you're just so locked in. So you're already more than capable of doing great things. You just, number one, you want to remind yourself, and you want to find something consistently that's hard that you can kind of work through to keep reminding yourself and build that evidence, build that confidence. The next piece I would say that's really valuable, and I'm aware of this, I wouldn't say I've mastered it by any stretch, but is figuring out how to add value for other people. Alex Hormozi talks about figuring out how to add the most value for other people more than anybody else. And I think that is actually, a lot of people talk about that, but that is critical, is like figuring out, what that is for other people. And I think, again, this goes into a previous video that I did on skills, abilities, and gifts. You can tap into what those are. A lot of times people, they want to start a restaurant or a bakery or a coffee shop or all these things. And it's like, but if they really got down to it, they're not interested in that. They're not interested in working 80 hours a week, having zero work-life balance, and making 20 grand a year, and managing employees and being up at 3 a.m. to bake croissants or whatever. They're more interested in, they would be better off looking inward at their skills, abilities, and gifts and the things that they're actually good at, and starting something that's based on a foundation of those. So figure out how to add value for other people. Then that kind of segues into, plug in your why. Your why should be so strong that it can overcome any hurdle. I think this is moving a little bit fast. Why is something I bring up a lot. Again, it's like Patrick Bet-David actually talks about this in his book, Your Next 5 Moves, which is like, he never gives advice to an entrepreneur without asking them a series of questions to understand who they are first. You and I need to understand who we are before we do the thing. A good tactical process for doing this is the 7 Whys Deep. It's a really cool exercise. I went over it this week with someone where you ask, like, for them, they wanted to do this business thing, and I said, why do you want to do that? And it's like, I want to have financial stability. Okay, well, why do you want financial stability? Well, I want it because I didn't have it when I was a child. Well, why do you want to provide that for your family even though you didn't have it? You go deeper and deeper and deeper until you finally get to the root of the thing, and it can be really powerful. So yeah, that's it for this episode. BYOB, bring your own belief. No one is going to believe in you until you become a person worth believing in. And that starts with you. That is your full-time job. Once you believe in yourself, once you add value, like, crazy value for other people, that people will follow. They will believe in you without you ever having to ask them to, because you have an undeniable capability in something. So I hope this encourages you, and I hope this helps you, and I'll see you in the next one.